Someone may seek God, someone may try to discover the self, someone may try to find peace, someone may try to discover the happiness and the bliss within. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing, the same truth being called by different names. With the change in our thoughts, with the change in our minds, or with our transformations, our external world also change. So as I transform myself, my world will also get transformed. And I will find people, more and more people, who are interested in Vedanta, or who are interested about God, or who are interested about spirituality or religion in some way or the other. Someone may seek God, someone may try to discover the self, someone may try to find peace, someone may try to discover the happiness and the bliss within. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing, the same truth being called by different names. It has been beautifully said in the Upanishads that ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. That means the truth, the absolute truth, or the ultimate truth is one. The seers of truth defines or describes it. They describe it in various ways. Why? It depends upon the tendency of the person who is the listener. So it depends upon the samskaras of the person who is in front of me. But it is the same truth. The same truth has been defined as Sat-Chit-Ananda, that is, it is Sat, that is existence, Chit, that is consciousness, and Ananda, that is bliss absolute. It is existence absolute, it is bliss absolute, it is consciousness absolute. So if I just want to know the self, or I want to have the knowledge of the self, it is the same thing. To know absolute bliss and to know absolute knowledge or absolute consciousness is the same thing. The same thing has been called by different names. The same Sat-Chit-Ananda, which is Brahman, has been described in Upanishad, in another Upanishad, as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. But how is Brahma? What is the nature of Brahman? In the first one we found it is Sat-Chit-Ananda. It is of the nature of existence absolute, consciousness absolute, bliss absolute. But in the second place it has been said in another Upanishad, it has been said how it is, what is the nature? The nature is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That Brahman is of the nature of Satyam, truth absolute, Jnanam, knowledge absolute, Anantam, and not Anandam. Anantam means infinite. But again it is the same thing. So someone may seek the same truth as truth. He wants to know it as an absolute truth. Someone may inquire about the same truth as bliss, someone as absolute happiness. It is the same thing, called by different names. So the truth being one, it has been described or defined in various ways. Why? Because of the various tendencies of the listeners. Similarly, we also have to speak in the same way. If the person who has come to me is a believer in God, you talk about God. At times you will see that you do not need to make someone believe or logically or rationally that yes, God exists. He or she believes that God exists, but now he wants to know more. But at times you will meet someone who is in doubt about the existence of God. So to him and to the first person, things will differ. But the truth is one. To the person who believes in God from the very beginning, you will be speaking something, and to one who has doubt, who has questions about the existence of God, your words will be something different. But ultimately you are speaking about the same truth. So things will depend as things comes, or as things come in front of us, they appear before us. So at times we will find people who are really interested in knowing the self, and the knowledge of Vedanta or the way or the procedure of Vedanta appeals to them. At times you will find persons who are hard believers of God. Our work is to go on, because with us there is no difficulty, With us there is no difficulty. It's beautifully said, You have seen sugar cane, and there are, what to say, Yuri, what do you say, the rings in the sugar cane? You have seen sugar cane, Yuri?
Yes, I have seen it.
And the what to say, the rings after some gap, regular gaps, there are some rings in the sugar canes which are hard, very hard. What do you say it in English?
We don't have sugar cane here in America.
But you have seen it at least.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Angelica or someone else? Monita Angelica or Aditi or someone? You have no idea. But do you understand what I mean to say?
Yes, that I do understand.
Yeah, the rings in the sugar cane which appears at regular intervals. It's not called the knot, but I don't know what it is called in English. So that's very hard to crack. And the sugar cane may be straight, the sugar cane may be bent, the sugar cane may be, zigzag, however it is. Will the taste different? They will be all the same, it will be sweet. If a sugarcane tree is just straight, as straight as it could be, and if you take another sugarcane which is really bent and not straight, they are all the same. You will get sugar from it. So is this Brahman. You may describe it in as many ways as you can. And that is the beauty. Why? Because you don't have one single particular way of describing. Though you cannot describe Brahman, it is inexplicable. However beautiful words you may utter about Brahman, however beautiful sentence you may utter about Brahman in order to, or in effort of describing Brahman, it is inexplicable. It is indescribable. But all the same, you are describing the same thing. As Bhagavan says very beautifully, that if you give a sweet, if you put a sweet in the mouth of a dumb person, one who cannot speak, you give a rasagulla in his mouth, and then you ask him, how is the taste? He will try his utmost, but he can never describe it. He will be just making some gestures which will help you to understand that okay, it is really good. But how good, how much good, it can never be said. Actually, even we, those who have words or whom God has given the capacity to speak, can we ever describe anything? I eat a rasagulla and I describe it's very sweet. Now, to a person who doesn't know what is how sweet it is as sweet as sugar. Now, the person with whom I'm talking, he has never seen sugar or he has never tasted sugar. So, how can I make him understand? So, I will try to make him understand in another way. It is as sweet as jaggery. So he has tasted jaggery, so I will tell him it is very sweet, sweet as jaggery. One who has not tasted jaggery and has tasted sugar, I will tell him it is as sweet as sugar. But it is neither sugar nor jaggery. It is what it is. So Brahman is what it is. You can never describe. So our description or our preaching or whatever we say it, in whatever words we may put it, it is all the same. It is all the same. So it will depend upon the tendency, the samskaras of the person with whom I am talking. And our work is to go on saying. And as you go on speaking with persons, you already have developed all these things, all of you who are here today now with me in this, that as you have been talking with people for a long time, so you know what or in just within a few minutes you can understand what the person in front of you, what does he want, or what does he means, what are his tendencies, whether he just believes he's a hard believer or he's a rationalist, questioning, reasoning, analyzing things. So we have to proceed in that way. Whatever comes in front of us, Vedanta believes in acceptance. So we have to accept it and we have to proceed in that way.